Good day to you, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, irrespective of the location where you are. And thanks for the subscribers we've seen so far. I now want to begin the lecture properly. Our first lecture, we talk about the introduction of OOP. We talked about the application, how it can be used. Now I want to dig into the code. But before we begin, let's start from the little short documentation that we have here that talk to us about what we are going to look into this very day. We're going to look at the basic syntax, the structure of the C++ program, how the code is being structured, how can we get a result, how can we structure our code, what are the syntactic structures we need to put together to be able to get our something meaningful out of the code. Just a 3-slide page. Then we look at the C++ program is structured in such a way we have the headers. I'm going to be showing us as well. We have the main functions, which is by default, you need to be in that code. We also have the other elements that we need to put together, maybe like classes or structures. By the time we get to the place, I'm going to make it to understand that. Then we talk about basic structures. Our grammar, we put together the syntactic structure words we put together to form our code. We also look at the basic structures. We have the header inclusions. We have our namespaces. We have our main functions. We have our classes and objects. We have our comments. We also have the headers enable us to include all the libraries, whether they want this defined in the compiler from the STL library, the standard library, or the one the user defined headers that can also be in our projects, custom ones. Now, also have the namespaces that enable us to organize and avoid any name conflict in our codes. The main functions, our default main functions, and also have classes and objects. Because as we already know that this class is based on objects, classes, and from classes we create our objects. Then we also have comments for readability and code explanations, so that we human beings can see any other developers or any other students will be able to see where we left on. Let's look at some basic syntax. That's our variables. So we're going to be seeing those variables in our mathematics. Talk about X, talk about Y, talk about this and that. We're going to see them also in use. We have some keywords. These words are the words they are reserved words. They cannot just be used the way we use other variables. They have special purpose and special use in the programs. We have the operators. We have the different kind of operator we're going to be using. We have our logical operators. We have our relational operators. We have different operators we're going to be using. There are ternary operators we're going to be using them in this program as well. Also have resolution operators. Maybe you can also use it with our namespaces or with our static files. Don't be disturbed with these jargons we have here. We're going to be explaining them bit by bit as we proceed. Also our punctuators, our semicolons, they are all used, their usage as well. Also our single line comments, multi-line comments. I'm going to be demonstrating them to us one after the other. Multi-line comments, conditional statements, our if, if, X statements. Also going to be looking at what our looping. Maybe loop, you have some kind of elements, array of elements, array of objects. We want to loop over them. We want to carry out operation on multiple objects, but that want to apply some specific operation on them. It's good to look into them. Also have statements. Any statement, any line of statement we write, Any statement we write, we need to what end it with semicolons. That means the end of that statement. Also, our data types that enable us to define what kind of data that needs to be stored on a particular variable. Determine the size of that variable. Determine the floats. Maybe this variable can only receive any not negative variables by applying or sign. Also determine maybe it's going to be decimal variables or also character, going to be a sequence of character and strings, or boolean, maybe true or false. Now we continue. Let's jump in. Enough of theory. Let's jump into our code editor. Now, as we remember from our previous lectures, we are using Visual Studio Code. That's majority of choice. We also use your CLion. The same code still work on anyone. We also use code block, as we said earlier. It also work in code block. The same code work everywhere. Now let's begin. Let's talk about our header sections, our directives. We first use our plans. Include. We use the include keyword here. In case your own Visual Studio Code is not telling you that there's some expected file name here, you can come here to the market side extension and include, look for error lanes, search for error lanes, the error lanes, and install it. So enable you to display all those errors here beside just install it. Then you should be able to see what I'm also seeing here, this expected file name error. Then we include our standard library as our IO input output stream. Then we close it, the angle bracket back. Then we go. Then we have our main functions as we have defined them. By default, we have our main functions. Int main. Don't worry, I'm going to explain main. Then there's no error so far, but there's still, since we are returning int here, we need to return, for example, 0. Sometimes, depending on the IDE you are using, you may have void there. It is void there, that means it doesn't return anything. You need to remove this, comment it out, or read it totally. But our VS Code do not allow us. So let's change it back to int. So then, all right. Then if we include one header file, this is our header files. Let's tell the user, we tell us the other time that for the single line comment, this is our what? Header files. Header files here. Also, let's include some of the standard, our input, output, something. Okay, before then, let's output something like hello world, our normal slogan that's okay in the development environment. Let's just say hello world to the user. STD, standard. Then our name resolution operators, cout. Cout is also a keyword that enables us to display something to the user. Say hello user, and we end it here. Remember, this is a statement. But then the user, okay, this is the end of this statement. Now, hello user. Then we go on. We even run this program. Let's see that. Open our terminal. You can save this. Now go to file. Now it's already put into autosave. Save it. Then you open your terminal. Open terminal here. Terminal or Ctrl Shift this. You see, we have terminal here. See my terminal here. Then I can write this command, or you come to this. If you cannot run the command, come to this and search for code runner. Install it here. You're going to see something like play button here. It should appear. 27 million downloaders. You can see it shows there. But if you don't say, okay, let's run it now. If you run this, can you see? We see what our hello world. You see what our hello world. You compile these programs. See the command you run. This G++ this. They'll tell you the version of the. Then let me come to my terminal here. See. But I can send, but there's still one error here. I want to know. I want to tell you. But the code runner did not even show you at all. But let me run it now normally. Let me come to my project structure here. Here we only have what? app.cpp here. The program could give me an app.py. It compile it and run it for me automatically. So, but I can also run the same thing. G++. The hyphen here means what? A flag here is what? Output. Means output. The output. And let's give the name of our output. Let's give it a main. Let's give it main1. Or it can be anything. Let's give it main1. Then what's the name of our app? It's app1 dot cpp. If you compile it now, you see it appears there. Good. How do we now run it? Just put it there. Dots / or tab, maybe our main. If you run it, can you see? Hello world. The hello world is here. But in the previous one, it's not showing because this is my program here. I don't include what end line. It should end it what with what? End line. std. I want to show end line. std, sorry, our output page, std end line. Now let's come back now. It's already automatic. You can press Ctrl S to save. Let's come back. Let's compile. Let's compile again. Back to main1. It will override what we have before. Let's run it back again by pressing your up arrow key, or you can type it again. Can you see? You get the same answer now. How cool is that? All right. Let me stop here. For my next lecture, we begin and continue from where we stop. Thank you very much. Please subscribe, and I promise you the best. We make the OOP simple as ABC. God bless you.